It's WRAL Triangle of Two. I'm Mark Bergen. He's Luis Fernandez in Charlotte for the ACC tip-off event. Luis, NC State in Kevin Keatts' program coming off a Final Four run a season ago. How the Wolfpack regroup this upcoming season, considering the dueling DJs, DJ Horne, DJ Burns, are gone. Still have a few of the players that helped contribute to the Final Four run a year ago. How do the Wolfpack build off the Final Four appearance? What does the team look like?
Well, I think one of the kind of calling cards of Kevin Keatts' coach teams the past few years have been, at least in terms of the roster construction, has been the success in the transfer portal, right? DJ Horne, DJ Burns, both transfers. Jarkel Joyner the year before, transfer. They're able to, in talking with Keatts this offseason, he says it's very important to find like what fits your team. You don't want to just go get somebody. You want to get somebody that fits what you're trying to do. So they're bringing in a lot of different transfers this year. You got Mike James, Brandon Huntley Hatfield. You've got Dontrez Styles, who Kevin Keatts will emphasize is a Georgetown transfer. Dontrez Styles played his first 2 seasons at UNC. I'm from Kinston. They've been recruiting him a lot over the past few years. You've got some returners, but there's also folks like, sorry, I'm scrolling through the roster here.
While you do that, hang on, let me hop in here with Styles while you look through the roster. Little revenge factor. You get some of the.
It's funny because I don't know. I think personally, I think that revenge is one of those things that like we hype up a little bit more than is actually there. What Styles has said is that he just kind of felt like he was at a low place at UNC. He wasn't really getting that many minutes. I believe his minutes went down from his freshman year to his sophomore year. And in Georgetown, he had a massive role. He was, scoring well into the teens. He was really, I think, kind of playing more of what he wants his game to be. And so with Styles, that's where I'm most interested is, okay, what is that the direct translation that we see for the Wolfpack? Is it that version of Dontrez Styles that was capable of lighting up the scoreboard for Georgetown last year?
Allow me to be a little bit petty, and we'll get to some of the other players on the roster, Luis, is this season when Styles is referred to as a Georgetown transfer instead of a UNC transfer, just remember this moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. We can go ahead and circle those UNC NC State games, even if we're already gonna circle them in general. But I think it's just another one of those layers to add to the mix for sure.
Ben Middlebrooks is back. Michael O'Connell was back. Had State won the national championship, they should erect a statue in his honor for the shot that he had in the ACC tournament to keep the season alive. I hope that's not just forgotten about in the ether because the run doesn't happen without that play. State was left for dead.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's funny with those kind of runs that NC State went on in the Final Four last year. There are always those moments, you know what I mean, where it's you're teetering on the verge of destruction, and one kind of wild play ends up kind of willing you forward. That's the shot that sent it to overtime, and eventually got them to beat Virginia in the semifinals and get to that ACC championship game where obviously they beat UNC. So it's Michael, and it's one thing too with Michael O'Connell. I think people will remember that shot, but the way his game progressed over his time with NC State, the former Stanford transfer, the way his game progressed, he became a lot more confident, a lot more vocal, and was distributing the ball, even better. So I think, him and Ben Middlebrooks are both going to be really interesting players. Ben Middlebrooks, people he went out there and scored 20 points in against Texas Tech, I think is what it was in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. So State has a lot of these players that I look at them on paper on the roster and I'm like, oh, interesting. And so how they come together I think is going to be like what that team looks like as a whole. I think is going to be fascinating, and could be the big point of, will they be back, in the top 25? Will they be back in contention for ACC championships? Will they return to the NCAA tournament for the third straight year under Kevin Keatts?
That's the key for me, Lewis. Is I'm not expecting to say, oh, this team has to go on a Final Four run. Hopefully, it's not another 40 years. But if you can make 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments, then you have sustained success in building a program.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my litmus test for the Wolfpack for the 24-25 season.
Yeah, no, I mean, they struggled down the stretch in the regular season. There's a reason they needed to win the ACC tournament just to get into the tournament. But, they also started the ACC season really well. So it's like, okay, which one of these points are we going to see NC State? They've really emphasized, hey, this is a new season. We cannot live off of the, glory of last year. They've said that they have to, continue to take those steps forward. So my big thing is you cannot win a championship if you do not make the playoffs. Like it is that simple. I know it's kind of like a, you play to win the game type thing, but when you
can't win if you don't score. The sky is blue.
The sky is blue. That is true. But I think it's ultimately like you have to be able to consistently get into the NCAA tournament if you want to be able to make runs like what NC State did. So consistency, that's what I'm looking for this year.
And perhaps that run last year, there were some rumblings before State went on its run. Is Kevin Keatts going to keep his job? There were those conversations. Then goes on the Final Four run again. Now, how you rebound after last season, you lose your 2 best players, but you're in a position to say, can we build upon this? And the transfer portal has been very successful for the Wolfpack. So we'll see what they do this season. Lewis, I got to plug your stuff over on WRALSportsFan.com. Done a terrific job with your coverage of the ACC tip-off event for both the men's teams and the women's teams too, Lewis.
Yes. Make sure, if you are an NC State fan, and you are, kind of still glowing looking at the 6 months ago when you had 2 teams make the Final Four. We've got plenty of coverage from the NC State women's basketball team. You can hear from Wes Moore, hear from Isaiah James. I had a one-on-one interview with Sanaya Rivers where we talked for about 6 minutes just on like a little bit of everything, whether it be her experience with Kelsey Plum and the dog class is DAWG class, where a bunch of top players kind of came together and in practice over the offseason, or whether it be just rebounding from the Final Four and where you go from there, what the team looks like. There's also plenty of stuff from Carol Lawson, Reagan Richardson, and Ashlyn Jackson with Duke women's basketball. And then also we are recording this on Wednesday. UNC women's basketball will be speaking in just a little bit. So we'll hear from head coach Courtney Banghart and her trio of players that she brought here for the ACC tip-off. And you also hear from Brian Murphy and Chris Lee are both doing some coverage coming up later on Wednesday and on Thursday on the NC State men's basketball team, as well as UNC men's basketball team. And of course, we'll hear from Duke on Wednesday as well. So we got you, Mark, is the main takeaway. We got you.
He's a dog in his coverage. He is the one and only Luis Fernandez in Charlotte. My name is Mark Bergen. Thanks for watching WRAL Triangle and 2. We'll see you next time. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.